Hi, Ann. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Hanging in there. I am. I'm good.
Yay.
Been extremely busy. I'm trying to. Your volume is a little down, so I'm going to have to. There you go. Say something.
Okay, something.
Okay.
Okay, you can hear me
Uh,
okay?
I guess.
Okay.
Let me see if I can adjust something here. Never mind. Never mind. We're okay. We're okay. All good. I'm just getting ready to roll tomorrow. Tomorrow I leave to go to Switzerland for the world premiere of my documentary film. That the cat's out of the bag now about that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of exciting. So for those who maybe don't know about it, you're Ann Hawkins,
Last time I
the
checked.
yeah director of communications for the Film Noir Foundation.
And you are Eddie Moeller, the founder of the Film Noir Foundation and its president. And you are also a TCM host and a writer. And now you're a documentarian as well.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so. Yes. So if people do not know what I'm talking about, I have a documentary film that has just been finished and is having its world premiere at the Locarno Film Festival in Locarno, Switzerland. It's called Dangerous Citizen: The Life and Times of Abraham Polanski, and it recently had an advance screening in LA at Universal Pictures on the lot there, and it was a very, very enthusiastically received. I'm happy to say. So that's that, and then there will be more information forthcoming shortly.
All right. Very cool.
But let's get that out of the way.
All right. Well, people are very excited when I post about it on our social media accounts. So
Oh well,
that's
that's
good.
good. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but let's get rolling because
Okay.
yes, I do have to. I am totally unprepared for my flight tomorrow, so
Oh God. Okay.
I need to do that at some point tonight as well. So,
Okay. So we just had some comments from YouTube that I wanted to bring up. For notable slap, Ray Milland as a slapper and Audrey Totter as a slappy, an alias Nick Beale. P.S. What was Nick Beale? What was with Nick Beale not wanting to be touched?
oh, don't you think that was just a added to his creep factor,
Okay. Uh,
right? I mean, and yeah, that was pretty good, but I don't like it when he slapped Audrey Totter in that film, and that's why I guess I didn't remember that one.
you liked it
Um,
out. And
yeah,
yeah, how about Lily Palmer slapping John Garfield in Body and Soul?
I got to tell you something. I've watched that film a million times. I hardly remember that moment. I so it couldn't have registered. Same kind of deal. I mean, I don't know. Okay.
Edward G. Robinson slaps Ellen Roberts in the Red House during his descent into madness.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
those are all from Joe on Long Island. These are actually signed.
Okay, very good. So those were other because we had a question about
Yeah,
slapping scenes in film noir, and yeah, I mean, let's just face it. I mean, obviously, the Mildred Pierce one is whatever is everybody's
it's
favorite slapping
yeah,
scene of all time.
yeah.
But I'm going to contend that Ida Lupino one and The Man I Love is pretty great because
Oh, I love it.
it's just so extreme. It's like she must get in half a dozen of those. And I'm a big and like not to reiterate everything we talked about last time, but I'm a big fan of the Ninon Zavia slapping scene in Victims of Sin, where she slaps the mother who has thrown her baby in the trash, and she just wallops her in the nightclub. I love that scene.
Okay, and this came into, and I couldn't resist like repeating this. This was we have a YouTube channel at Noir City on YouTube, and we put these up and also interviews with people. We just put up an interview that you did with Barbara Eden and Pat Boone when you screened Yellow Canary in Hollywood. So anyway, but this one was just a really interesting observation. Have you noticed the similarity between the movie The Long Goodbye and The Third Man? Both films have unconventional heroes. One is a surreal private eye from the 40s detective movies, the other a hack writer of fantasy westerns. They both must find out about the friends who have disappeared. Have they been murdered or are they still alive? I left out
Mhm.
what this is me. I left out what happened to the friends for spoiler reasons. There's a beautiful shot of a tree-lined road at the end of both films. In each scene, a woman rejects a man by walking or driving by him in a Jeep.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's never like I never noticed that. I thought that's really interesting.
That isn't. I mean, yeah. But now what's interesting is not just the because he's saying comparing the films. I would contend that there are 2 points being made here. Do we know who sent that in?
He did not sign it, so to speak, and I don't like to put people's
Okay.
YouTube users' names out unless I know they want us to.
Okay. Okay. But what's interesting is the first part is pertains to the stories, not to the films. Because Graham Greene, the third man, it's the same plot of the book that he wrote, the novella that he wrote, as Chandler's The Long Goodbye, and there's only what 3 or 4 years separating those two books. But that is interesting because it you could make the case if you knew that Chandler was borrowing the plot of The Third Man when he wrote The Long Goodbye because I mean Marlowe does he does have interactions with Terry Lennox at the beginning of the novel, and then Terry disappears,
Yeah.
and we're told he's dead, but of course something else happens um, in the movie. But it's interesting. I'm going to assume that Robert Altman definitely was paying homage to The Third Man with the last shot of The Long Goodbye, with that tree-lined road. I can't say that that Eileen Wade rejects Marlowe at the end of the story, because that's not. He's the one walking and she's driving in the other direction. She thinks she's going to meet Terry.
Yeah.
And that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So it's not quite the same, but the motivations aren't the same at the end of the story, but the shot, I think, is definitely a homage to The Third Man. That's a good call. That was a good bit of observation there. Okay, would you like me to
Yeah. Why don't you do the first question? One? Yeah.
Okay. This is from Fred Ross in Hanahan, South Carolina. He says, I know we tend to agree film noir began in 1944, while a handful first emerged at the beginning of that decade. But do you ever consider any pre-code movies as film noir or proto-neo-noir, since the Hayes office didn't have these films in their Puritan grip? I would nominate William Powell's 1930 The Road to Singapore, Barbara Stanwyck's 1933 Babyface, and 34's Heat Lightning as proto-neo-noir exemplars. And then he wonders what we think about this, and if some would be included on Noir Alley sometime. Interesting question, Fred. We've kind of addressed this a little bit in previous episodes. Yeah, I certainly agree with this line of thinking that noir may have happened sooner were it not for the reinforcement of the production code in 1934, and also that there was some lag in a lot of the European films that helped inspire the look and everything. There was a little bit of lag of those getting to the United States, except for big stuff like M and things like that. But of course, who needs the films when the filmmakers are going to be there in short order themselves? So yeah, I mean, I would also say that there are, and I haven't shown any of these on Noir Alley, but I have definitely shown them at Noir City film festivals. We've shown Afraid to Talk is a really good one. It's also has another title, The Merry-Go-Round, that is very, very noir. That's one of the good movies that Eddie Kahn made. There's a picture that Tay Garnett did called OK America, uh, that's early journalism noir kind of thing. The Edward G. Robinson picture 2 Seconds
Yeah.
is pretty noir. There's a wonderful picture called Safe in Hell that is pretty great, and a real obscurity that I've shown. I'm not going to say it's really noir, but it's dark. Is Laughter in Hell? Did you ever see that? I showed that
Which
at
one's
Noir
that
City
one?
one time. It's based on a Jim Tully novel, and it has everything in it. There's a pestilence, and there's disease, and there's a chain gang and lynchings, and Pat O'Brien. It's an early Pat O'Brien movie, and it's pretty remarkable. Laughter in Hell. It was funny. I remember people thought it was a lost film, and then I said to this is when my buddy Bob O'Neill worked at Universal, and I said, I'd like to show this picture, but I heard it's a lost film. It's called Laughter in Hell. He goes, it's not lost. It's nobody asks for it. So it was like, oh, so you have it. He goes, yeah, we got a beautiful print of it. You want to show it? So yeah, sometimes they aren't actually lost films. They're just not known.
They're just not being asked for.
Yeah, people just don't know to ask for them. So Fred Ross, that was a fun question, and Beast of the City is another film. I think that's 1931. It's more a cops and robbers movie than it is a film noir, but that shows on TCM. I know they've shown that Beast of the City with Walter Houston.
Okay.
And Jean Harlow is in it too, and it has an amazing. It's like the first great gun battle in a Hollywood movie, like a massive gun battle that ends the film. And for the time, I think it's 1931. It's pretty spectacular. Charles Braben was the director.
What's the one with Peter Lorre where he has the fake face?
The Face Behind the Mask.
See, you think I'd be able to remember that? Yes, The Face Behind the Mask.
Yeah, that's Robert Florey. Yeah, but that's not a pre-code movie. That's
oh, I didn't realize that. For some reason, I thought it was earlier.
No, that's right in that. That's right in that Peter Lorre wheelhouse of like 4041.
Okay.
When he did Stranger on the Third Floor and The Maltese Falcon and The Face Behind the Mask, and that's a really good movie. I really like
it's a
Face
really
Behind
great
the
film.
Mask, and that is completely a noir, even though people treat it like a horror movie for some reason.
No, it's not a horror movie.
But it's not. It's about a guy who becomes a criminal because, and it's the classic. Imogen Sarah Smith just wrote an essay. We're doing this book together, and called Noir Around the World. And one of the films that she writes about in the book is A Woman's Face, the Swedish film with Ingrid Bergman. And it's interesting because, the premise of that is whether what you look like determines what your life is going to be like. Yeah. Right. And so she's a criminal and this blackmailer and a horrible person because she has this scarred, ruined face. And the same thing is kind of true of Face Behind the Mask, which is really interesting because, he plays a very likable immigrant character, but then he gets burned in a fire. And then the way he's treated after that, he becomes a criminal because of his face being burned. And then when he gets the mask, he's like both, it's such a noir concept. He's like, he's okay when he's wearing the mask, but he's this other deformed person underneath. Anyway.
It's really weird. I actually like the remake of A Woman's Face better than the original. I feel so guilty about that because I feel like
because it's good. It's a George Cukor film with really Joan Crawford.
She's great.
It's one of the lesser known great Crawford performances, I think.
And she has a great slapping scene in that too.
Yeah. There are. I don't feel bad, and there are things that are better about the remake than the original.
Good. I'm glad I'm not the only one that thinks that way. I was like, I really like the remake quite a bit. I don't know. I'm a sucker for Joan too, I think.
But that's also interesting because that's a film that never gets mentioned. I don't know why that is. I mean, why the 41 version of A Woman's Face never gets mentioned as a, it's because it's a woman's film, it's a
Yeah.
woman's melodrama, so they never list it. It's like The Letter. The
Yeah.
Letter is also very much a noir film, but because it's Betty Davis and Joan Crawford, it's like it can't be as noir as The Maltese Falcon, or they're just not considered precursors to the movement. But look at that. We have the Swedish version in our book Noir Around the World, but
Yeah.
A Woman's Face isn't in Dark City, The Lost World of Film Noir.
Yeah.
I didn't deign to mention it for some reason. I don't know. I don't think I had seen it when I wrote the first version of the book, but
Yeah.
I should have gone back and put it in because I did a whole Joan Crawford, a whole tribute profile thing of Joan Crawford. So anyway.
Anyway, this is one's from Alan, our friend Alan from San Anselmo, California. How did you two like the 1990 remake of the 1952, The Narrow Margin, with Gene Hackman? I like the pacing of the film. Have either of you two been to the Raphael Film Center in San Rafael? I wish Eddie could host a movie one night there.
Um, Interesting. I like Ann Archer. She's in the remake of The Narrow Margin.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't have much to say about that film. I'm not a fan of it.
I can't remember if I saw it. I feel like I did see it, but I don't remember it. If I saw it, I saw it in 1990, and I simply can't remember.
I think it's Peter Hyams is the director, who by and large is not a bad director.
Yeah,
I
I must
just
have seen it if Peter Hyams made it.
Yeah, and Gene Hackman, of course,
Yeah.
plays the Charles McGraw role, but um, I didn't like that they turned it into an action film.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some action in the original Narrow Margin, but in those meetings that somebody said, "Well, where's the chase atop the train?"
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you're not going to have a train movie made in 1990 or any time without a chase atop the train. That has to happen, and I wish they had not done that. And yes, and just to show that you are not a native to the
Not a native?
area,
Yes.
well, because you pronounce it San Rafael, and everybody who's born here calls it San Rafael.
Oh,
Yeah, it's just funny. I mean, Raphael is not incorrect, but everybody here just calls it San Rafael.
San Rafael. Okay.
Yeah, and yes, I have been to the Raphael Film Center, and I have done shows there. I used to go every summer because the California Film Institute does a summer camp for kids, teaching them aspects of filmmaking and the film business and all this stuff. And I used to go every summer and participate in that. And it was really interesting. The point, I think, was, it's Marin County. It's a fairly affluent area.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of kids sign up because they're like 12 and they want to be filmmakers.
Yeah.
And we used to kind of scoff at that until, now the guy who made the Back Rooms is like, what, 20
Yeah.
or something. And so who knows? He may have been in this California Film Institute program. Who knows? Because the kid was from Petaluma, right? He may have very well, which is 40 minutes away from the Raphael Film Center.
Well, the thing about the YouTube, and because people make films for YouTube, I don't know if people know that they make these short films and stuff, which is his background, the guy who did Obsession's background as well. And it's kind of cool because it used to be in the old days in the studio system, you get your start making B pictures or shorts or whatever. And it's kind of the same thing because we don't have that in the regular film industry anymore, that shorts and things like that, or B films really. And so these guys and gals too have kind of started out basically doing the same type of thing because it's an affordable way to make a short film and you get an audience. People actually watch your stuff on YouTube. So it's kind of cool. And that's really changing sort of the face of of Hollywood, I think. Well, at least horror, right? Because all these guys are getting their start in horror.
Well, that's the thing. It's interesting. I'd be curious to know if you could do something other than horror, or something that's has a sensational aspect to it. Our friend Ray Seahorn,
Mhm.
right, from Better Call Saul and
Yes.
Pluribus. Did
Yeah.
you see her YouTube show?
Was that the one where she was the agent?
Yes.
Yeah, I did. Those were
And
funny.
it was basically about my bar, because
Yeah.
I have a bar in my backyard, right? And it was about a guy who opens up a bar in some Hollywood neighborhood, and it was pretty funny.
It was good. Yeah.
And I forget how long the episodes were. They were maybe
pretty
10.
short. I
They
mean,
were
they were
short, yeah,
like
like 10 minutes or
but they were
something.
really like packed. And she played an agent, and she was so great in it.
She was hysterical. She was great. Anyway, so it was just amusing because that was a comedy thing, right?
Yeah.
And who knows? I mean, I'm totally agreeing with what you're saying, that YouTube and TikTok, I guess, are like the minor leagues now for filmmakers. If you want to just show what you got, yeah, kind of fascinating. That was it. That was the only thing I had to say about the Raffel Film Center. I would hope that I will be back there at some point. Maybe with my documentary. Who knows? Okay, my turn now. This is from Jim in Chicago. I know you do not consider Nicholas Ray's 1950 Born to Be Bad a top film noir. It's no In a Lonely Place, but I like its cast, who all play somewhat against type. Joan Fontaine is a shameless hussy. Robert Ryan is a cynical writer. Zachary Scott is an honorable husband. Mel Ferrar is a gay character, but without stereotypes typical of the period. And Joan Leslie is no longer a teenager playing an adult, but actually an adult. Interesting that in both Born to Be Bad and Repeat Performance, Joan Leslie's best friend is a gay man, and both Mel Ferrar and Richard Basehart are treated respectfully, as opposed to either being a sissy or a criminal. Well, that's debatable by the end of Repeat Performance.
Yeah.
Your comments on any of these observations? Well, first off, I don't really think Born to Be Bad is a film noir at all. I think it's a melodrama.
Yeah.
And
a comedy.
And a bit of a comedy.
There's really funny too.
Yeah, there's some pretty
intentionally funny. I mean,
oh yeah. Adult humor in that film. It was a mess getting it made. I think it's what I call the Fritz Lang syndrome. Because Fritz Lang became synonymous with film noir, people assumed that if Fritz Lang made the film was like honorary film noir.
Yeah. Even though he made many films that weren't.
He made many films that were not film noir, right? And Nick Ray, it's kind of the same thing, right? Because it was right in that area where he made, They Live by Night. Then he did A Woman's Secret, which is really a bad movie. But it has Gloria Graham in it. There's a murder in it.
It's fun.
It's fun. It's not. It's
not a good movie. But
it's not a good movie. It's not a good movie. I mean, Born to Be Bad is a much better movie than A Woman's Secret. And Knock on Any Door isn't really a film noir, but it's kind of a social message picture thing. Anyway, so I think that's why. I think that's how these things get. That's how these rumors get started, that it's a film noir. But I do enjoy the film very much, and I'm going to assume, Jim, that I hope you saw the film on DVD, because if you get the DVD, there is the actual original ending of the movie is included, which is so much better than the released ending.
We screened it at North City. Remember, we screened the film and then we screened the ending. So
Yes, and I told people stay in your seats when the movie is over because we're actually going to relive the last 10 minutes of the movie again with the original ending, which my great good friend and hero George Feltenstein at Warner Brothers found that in the vault, and he's the one responsible for getting it uh, put on the digital release of the film. They couldn't go back and fix it
yeah.
and change the ending, but at least people can see it, and it's so funny and it's so good.
Yeah.
And just one other quick little note about that film that I think is worth mentioning. It knocked around Hollywood for a few years as a project called Christabel Kane, which is the name of Joan Fontaine's character in the movie. And the person who was attached to that film to direct it was Paul Stewart, the character
Yeah.
actor, Paul Stewart, who this is an interesting story. So Paul Stewart had come to Hollywood with Orson Welles because he was one of the original Mercury players of the air. And he worked as much as a writer and a director in those first years in Hollywood, directing second unit stuff and waiting for his chance to make something. And that something was going to be Christabel Kane. That was the project that he really wanted to make. And it actually bounced, I think, between studios for a couple of years. I think it was RKO and Paramount. It went back and forth. And when the picture was taken away from him, that's when Paul Stewart left Hollywood. He was so angry he left Hollywood and he moved back to New York. And then coincidentally, it would have been 1947. He was in New York, and when RKO went there to make The Window, they cast Paul Stewart,
Yeah.
who was then living in New York, as the villain. And that is what got him back to Hollywood because during that whole period when Howard Hughes wasn't releasing The Window because he thought he wanted to make Christabel Kane, he was using it to try to get into bed with Joan Fontaine. He wanted to sleep with Joan Fontaine, and he was using Christabel Kane as the carrot on the stick. And in that interim, The Window was done, and Hughes hated it because it starred a little boy, and he wouldn't release it. But the film got shown in screening rooms all over Hollywood because it was so good, and that's when everybody discovered this Paul Stewart is awesome. We got to get him, and that's why all of a sudden Paul Stewart was the bad guy in every noir film. If they couldn't get Raymond Burr, they'd get Paul Stewart. So that's how that's how he ended up back in Hollywood, was because of The Window. But he left Hollywood because of the movie that would eventually be Born to Be Bad.
And quick note, Carol Burnett parodied Born to Be Bad. It's very funny. So you can find that on YouTube. And I just want everybody to watch Repeat Performance. It's my favorite film that we've restored. I think it's a fantastic film that everyone needs to see. It is underseen, and Richard Basehart Joan Leslie's great in it too, but Richard Basehart is just fantastic in it.
Yeah, Richard Basehart is great in it, and oh my God, I'm drawing a blank on her name right now. Virginia Field is the rival to Joan Leslie in the movie, but there's another actress in it who has kind of the Eve Arden role, whose name is escaping me at the moment. But yes, I second. Richard Basehart is fantastic in that film. That's his first movie.
Pretty amazing first time out.
Yeah.
Okay, this is from Dan from South Dakota. I recently watched The Bigamist, and I thought it was good, but found the courtroom ending somewhat unresolved and unsatisfying. Wouldn't it have been better if in the end Ida Lupino's character would have died of a heart condition, leaving Edmund O'Brien's character with just one wife and Joan Fontaine a baby to raise like she was wanting, that also happened to be her husband's child?
Well, Dan, we just, I hope everybody's seen The Bigamist because we just spoiled the
Brought up the
ending of that
ending.
film.
Yeah.
Um, it- well, speaking of movies that are kind of melodramas and not really film noir,
Right.
I mean that's certainly the case with The Bigamist.
Yeah.
But again, because of the Ida Lupino thing, and she did The Hitchhiker. Um, what I've shown, same thing. I would not show The Bigamist on Noir Alley
Yeah.
because I just don't think it has the noir credentials. But I have shown The Bigamist at Noir City on the big screen just because it, it's Ida Lupino, and
Hmm.
it was restored, and it was like I wanted to be a completist,
Yeah.
and I can't remember. I think we showed it with The Hitchhiker or something. But I think at that point, Ida Lupino, was her goal with that movie was to not make was to make an adult drama. And so I think she stayed away from everything that was melodramatic or sensational. I just called it a melodrama, but you know
It's
what I
really
mean.
not. Yeah.
They kind of undercut. It's what are you, a domestic drama or something
Yeah.
like that. But they undercut the melodrama as much as they possibly can in that film.
Yeah, and I think that would have been a terrible ending. I mean, the great thing about it is this, it's very reflective of real life. I mean, that's kind of what makes it, I think, a very extraordinary film is that it feels so realistic. Like
Yeah.
how he gets in this thing, and Ida Lupino's life is very tough, and I don't know. There's just like all these different aspects to it that just it feels so realistic. So I think it would have been like to have a neat ending would have just completely undermined everything that Lupino was doing with the film.
Well, she was so inspired by European neorealist directors. That's why she wanted to be a director. That it has a much more European sensibility than the average Hollywood movie.
Yeah.
It's like we're not going to contrive the plot. It's just going to be the way life works sometimes, and we're not going to juice it up. So yeah. Now I'm seeing that our next question also pertains to The Bigamist, so
Yeah.
I probably answered everything. Um, let me run through this real quick.
Okay.
Just watch The Bigamist on Prime for free, and though the internet describes it as drama noir, it doesn't feel very noirish. There you go. Interesting for an excellent cast and a wildly ambiguous ending. And though the story seems to be sympathetic to the Eben O'Brien character, there are easily two other films here from the Joan Fontaine perspective as well as the Ida Lupino perspective.
Yeah.
So is it noir? Well, we've just answered that. Uh, and then he notes that there's like a meta moment
Yeah.
when they refer to the Edmund Gwynn's character as a Santa Claus type, and they actually reference Miracle on 34th Street. That happens, and he says, "Does that happen often?" And I would say it happens more than you might think in older movies, but it shows you what movies had really penetrated the social consciousness, right? I mean, Miracle on 34th Street was one of those. Obviously there's Sunset Boulevard. I'm the guy who told Selznick to pass on Gone with the Wind. I mean,
Yeah.
uh, there that's how big those things have to be in order for them to be referenced. Um, he says, also, it struck me how wonderful Gloria Graham or Liz Scott would have been as the Phyllis Martin character under Lupino's direction. And then cites Scott and O'Brien being good together in Two of a Kind. Uh, as far as noir male leads, Edmund O'Brien is my third favorite, only behind Bogart and Mitchum, but he surpasses Robert Ryan, John Garfield, Fred McMurray, Richard Conte, and the likes. Although Anne might prefer Dan Duryea.
Denturi would have been great in the Edward O'Brien role. I'm just gonna say it.
Uh,
I would like
I,
to see that because when he plays those kind, because if people haven't seen Chicago Calling,
yeah,
watch
Chicago
Chicago
Calling. Yeah,
Calling because Dan plays this type of character of sort of an ordinary man. In his case, basically he's a photographer, but he's lush and kind of a screw up. and his wife has gone traveling with their daughter, and then the daughter gets struck by a car in the hospital, and his phone gets turned off when he's trying at the time that he needs to get a phone call to find out what happened to his daughter. So it's set around this day of him trying to find enough money to get his phone turned back on. So it's a very grounded, very kind of like the same type of thing, where much more realistic sort of role than he usually got. And it was his wife's favorite character that he played.
Yeah, it's a really good film. John Reinhardt directed it, and I'm wondering, do you think it sounds to me like the story is could be any time, and I'm just wondering, like, if you could do that film, make it today, because obviously the thing about installing a phone and turning off the thing and everything, I mean, now with cell phones, it'd be a different thing, but it would be like, we've shut down your plan.
Yeah,
exactly. You can't have access to this phone, and then I think you could still do it. It'd just be different. Like, he'd get into trouble because he tries to take somebody's phone away from them so he can use it to make the call, and then just all sorts of bad things happen. That popped into my head immediately when Joe mentioned Dan Duryea, and I said, that sounds kind of like a Chicago Calling kind of thing. Yeah. Oh, look I see a little terrorist next to you. Yeah.
Hello. What is it?
Ew.
Okay. Mommy's doing something right now.
It would blow your mind if just a quick update on our feral cat front.
Yes.
The feral cat is now in Kathleen's lap.
Ooh.
It jumps up on the chair. She pets it. It flops over. Oh my God. This cat absolutely loves my wife. Honestly, I'm getting a little bit jealous because I mean, I can pet the cat as long as I like have food nearby. But I mean, it comes right to her and jumps up on her and everything. And I mean, and then sometimes I come in because we have chairs that are next to each other, when we watch TV or something. And I come in and the cat is in my chair, sitting in my chair next to Kathleen. And it's like, I'm not moving. Where are you going to sit? Because I'm sitting here. So yeah, that was the feral cat that, we couldn't get near for years. And now it's taking my seat in the house. So
and Bento's a she, right?
Yes.
No.
Well, we call her Bento because our first cat was named Bent, and this cat looks so much like Bent, but we couldn't just call it Bent. So it's Bento.
No.
All right. Is it time for the lightning round?
It's time for the lightning round. Okay.
I will do my best to be like lightning for a change.
Thank you for restoring repeat performance. Here's my, I had to leave that in. Here's my question, Eddie. You showed a film months ago on Noir Alley. I didn't record, but saw it on Watch CCM on my Roku. It was French film, I believe, and was subtitled. It was about a man and his girlfriend. She disappeared. He did eventually find who kidnapped her. The ending gave me nightmares. I think I know what it is. Can you give me the title? I would love to add this to my enormous video library.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting because I thought at first he was talking about, I did not show that movie on Noir Alley. That is why there's a little bit of confusion on that's Calvin in Greer, South Carolina. Because I showed that with Alicia Malone. We were co-hosting, and she was showing it as one of the movies that she talks about in her TCM Imports book.
Yeah.
The movie is called The Vanishing, and it is from Belgium. It's not French. It's from Belgium. George Slizer. It doesn't look like that's how you pronounce it, but that's how you pronounce it. George Slizer is the director of that film, and do not confuse it with the American remake.
Yes,
which is also called The Vanishing, and is also directed by George Slizer.
Yeah.
But you want the one with the actors that you don't know. in the Belgian version, which is one of the great films ever. I think Stanley Kubrick said it was the scariest movie he ever saw.
Wow.
And it's not totally scary until you get to the very end. I mean, then the whole, which is absolutely freaking brilliant, because that's the whole thing. I mean, Mickey Spillane said one time that the greatest trick a writer can pull off is if you hold the reader in suspense and they don't know where the story is going until the last page. And then he says, if you can get it to the last page, that's really something. If you can hold it, the payoff till the last paragraph, then you really got something. And then if you can get it to the last sentence.
Yeah.
And he was so proud of himself because, I, the jury, he says, I got it to the last word.
Yeah.
Like the book didn't actually make sense until you got to the last word. And The Vanishing is very much like that. It's like it pays off with the last shot of the movie. And it's absolutely horrible. Okay.
Okay, this is Joe G in New York City. As the man I love is noir. What about one of my Lupino favorites, The Hard Way? At the very least, it's noir stained. Love that word. Love Noir City, New York City. Also, Anne, thanks for recommending Dust Bunny and letting us know about Steve Smith's presentation of Taxi Driver. It was a hoot.
Okay. The Hard Way. This is funny. You're getting all these movies in here that are noir adjacent that I've shown at Noir City festivals, but not on Noir Alley. And The Hard Way is another example of that. You remember the double bill that we had? I think it was Noir City #5. It was opening night. Joan Leslie was our guest, and we showed repeat performance and The Hard Way.
It was great.
As a double bill.
It was really, really, really great. That's, I think, when I fell in love with Jack Carson.
No, understandable. Yeah. Poor Dennis Morgan is all upset about that now that you went for Jack Carson. Yeah, The Hard Way is great, and Lupino is like the stage sister from hell in that movie. Yeah. And Steve Smith's presentation of Taxi Driver, do I remember you talking about that? Was that a thing he did in New York?
I think it was something that I on social, in case you guys don't know, we're on social media, and a lot of times if I see something interesting, then I repost it if I think that people will be interested in it. Okay, so I don't always it's not necessarily something like I can go to or anything, but if like we like I retweet about some foreign film noir festivals or screenings, like especially at theaters that we do North City with. But if I think it's something adjacent that people might find interesting, stuff like that, like the Music Box is having a week of William Castle films. I'm so jealous.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's just interesting because Steve Smith, of course, worked with me on this documentary film, the Abe Polanski film. If Steve is credited as the director, I'm credited as the writer. We're both producers. And he also has written this great book on Alfred Hitchcock and Bernard Herrmann, the friendship and film scores that changed cinema. And Steve was actually in New York City when I was doing Noir City in New York, and he actually came to one of the screenings, but I never saw him. But he was there doing a Bernard Herrmann thing. And I'm wondering if that's what it was, because of course, Bernard Herrmann wrote the score for Taxi Driver. It was his last film score.
Yeah. And I follow Steve on Facebook. So if I catch these presenting something somewhere, he presented something in London as well. And I shared that as well. Absolutely.
Steve will be in Locarno with me this weekend when we're showing the film. So all good. Okay.
So this is Bonnie from Cave Creek, Arizona. Thanks so much, Anne, for the tip on Brit Noir Dear Murderer, which I found to be quite good. The Criminal, not so much. Are there any of the rare noirs from Great Britain that either of you would recommend? Do you know this voice? Which I think I mentioned it before, but Ted and I just watched that a couple weeks ago, which is a Dan Duryea, a film that he did in London. It's really good. And then of course
he did a few, I think.
he did he did another
in
one
England, yeah.
where he was
I think it's called Terror Street.
Terror Street, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a bunch of them. I mean, there's all kinds of those where there are American actors going over there. I've shown a few of those on Noir Alley this year, like Blackout and Bad Blonde, and what was the other one? And you know, if you look up the Hammer films, you know, before they became The House That Dripped Blood, they were pretty much making noir films. And then in the early 60s, there's some good British noir like Strong Room and The Man in the Back Seat, two movies by Quentin Lawrence that are really, really good. And Strong Room, which I showed in a bootleg a few years ago at Noir City, is now been completely restored by the BFI and is out in a beautiful Blu-ray edition. And there's all kinds of
not one but two of the number twos from the TV series The Prisoner.
Amazing how that works, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then all the Basil Dearden crime films like Sapphire and Pool of London and League of Gentlemen, and you know, there's all kinds of stuff. The Blue Lamp is a good one from the early 50s, has early Dirk Bogarde in it. The Sleeping Tiger by Joe Losey is a good one with Alexis Smith.
I really like that one a lot.
Yeah, there's quite a few. I'm trying to think of the five that Imogen and I write about, or maybe be more than five in our Noir Around the World book. There's It Always Rains on Sunday.
Oh, that's a good movie.
Right,
yeah.
which is terrific. They Made Me a Fugitive with Trevor Howard. Brighton Rock.
Great film.
There's I know there's come on. The Third Man, obviously. The Third Man is in there. Victim. You've seen Victim with Dirk Bogarde? Yeah, that's Basil Dearden. Yeah,
that's a great movie.
That's a terrific film. And a lot of these are written by Janet Green. Janet Green and her husband John McCormack. Cast a Dark Shadow is another good one. That's a Dirk Bogarde one with Margaret Lockwood. Anyway, so there.
Odd Man Out. I just want to say
Odd Man Out is, come
really
on.
Quickly.
Odd Man Out
That's
is
incredible.
an absolute masterpiece.
What's the one with has a kid and he's like a rich kid and
Fallen Idol.
Thank you.
The Fallen Idol. Yeah. All Graham, all
and the Rocking Horse Winner.
Yeah, the Rocking Horse Winner is pretty terrific. But all those I would contend that Odd Man Out, Fallen Idol, and The Third Man is the best 3-film run any director ever had.
Yeah.
Three consecutive films that good as those three. That was when Carol Reed was, he was feeling it.
Yeah.
Fallen Idol is really, really great.
Fallen Idol is a wonderful film. I'd love for everybody to see that one. It's really a great film. Okay. So, and by the way, in case those titles went by really fast, I have a Letterboxd account where I do list all the films now that we discuss, because I had people requesting, and it's not that many. And then the first time Ted collects the information using AI, frankly, and which is the only reason why we can do it, frankly. And I was really shocked at the number of films we talk about in an episode. Like,
I know, because you're just free associating, and then it's like, well, you can't leave that one out. You got to mention that one. Okay, now I'm going to be all self-conscious about like not adding more and more titles to this.
No, do, because people can go back and find them now.
So here's my question. So will you, in this last one we just went through,
Yeah.
there was a film referenced that we glossed over very quickly. Will you include that in the films discussed? Because
everything, every single thing
it's
that we
mentioned-
mention goes on that list.
Okay, so that was The Criminal, which is a Joseph Losey film with Stanley Baker, which is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
So I'm standing up for The Criminal. I think it's better. It's better than Bonnie gave it credit for. I mean, to each his own, obviously, but yeah.
Screw it,
I do
I'm throwing
think
in
Dear
Hell
Murderer is a
Drivers.
little better, but yeah. Oh, that's the other one. That's the other one that we write about. And thank you for mentioning it.
Good.
Hell Drivers is the film that I was forgetting about, which Imogen writes about. She loves that movie.
Oh,
So
good
yeah,
for her.
Hell Drivers.
Ooh, Patrick McGowan's such a bad guy in that.
Yeah,
Oh,
he is.
All Night Long.
All Night Long is pretty great. Yeah, it's showing in Locarno. I saw, and I've been showing it all this year at the Noir City festivals. Yeah, that's a fantastic movie. I mean, it's honorary noir.
Yeah,
You know, there's a devious plot at the center of it, thanks to William Shakespeare.
Yeah.
But yeah, what do you like it, right?
Patrick McGowan, yeah. I'll watch anything
yeah.
with Patrick McGowan in it. No, the thing that struck me this time when I watched it was at the beginning of it, Patrick McGowan's like smoking a joint, right? And then he, on the spur of the moment, concocts this incredibly elaborate plot that includes having to do sound engineering.
Yes.
And I'm like, at the end of it, I'm going, there's no way someone that high could possibly, well, he might come up with the idea.
Well, exactly. I mean, that's part of the reason he concocts this absurd idea. Yeah.
You had to be high, but I don't get how he managed to actually execute it.
Well, you make when you say sound engineering, it sounds a lot more elaborate than it actually is.
Well, it's sound editing,
splicing tape. It's splicing
but
tape.
reel to reel. Yeah. That's not that easy.
Oh no, it's not. You're right. But he's a musician. He's probably done it a few times in the.
Well, no, they mentioned in that he was actually really good with sound editing.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
That's okay. That's way too long of an answer. Okay, Bob from the Saturday Evening Post here with a lightning round of noir questions.
Okay.
1, favorite noir not set in LA, San Francisco, or New York?
The Asphalt Jungle.
Oh, that's a good choice.
Okay. See, I'm trying to be brief now.
No, that's great. Mine's On Dangerous Ground. Favorite car in a noir?
The Jaguar in Angel Face.
Oh, that's a good choice. I'm gonna say Gloria Swanson's car in Sunset Boulevard.
Okay, there you go.
Favorite house / apartment in noir?
The New Mexico spread that Gene Tierney lives in Leave Her to Heaven.
Oh, that's a good one. I was gonna say, the little house where they find Carmen when she's getting photographed and she's all out on.
Oh, the Geiger's house. Yeah, with all the
round,
like the knickknacks and the all. Yeah. That's good.
That house.
There's a hell of a lot of set dressing going on in that house.
Yeah, I love it.
That's pretty good.
I love that one. Noir you once didn't like but grew to love, or vice versa?
Kiss Me Deadly.
Which way did it go?
I didn't really like it, and it's grown on me over the years. The first time I saw it, I thought it was vastly overrated.
Yeah.
And it is now I like it.
Okay.
How about you?
I'm trying to think if I'd say the one thing, I think maybe it was The Killers. Yeah, I think it was The Killers. The first time I saw it, I wasn't that impressed with it when I watched it on videotape. But then when I saw it in a theater, it was just fantastic.
You're referring to the 1946 one.
Yes, the 1946 one. Even though I like the remake, mainly because I like Clu Gallagher and Lee Marvin.
Yeah, Clu Gallagher is great.
And also
the remake is good. The remake is good.
Reagan is so fantastic in it.
Yeah, and it's great because you just have to show those people want to say, so what became of film noir? you just show those two movies back to back and you say that's what happened. Right? I mean,
Yeah.
things changed.
Yeah,
It's the same story,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
But it's so interesting because I don't think in the 46 version and they wouldn't have stuck with the assassins. I mean, the 64 version, you're following the killers the whole way through the movie. There is no Edmund O'Brien character. They are the Edmund O'Brien character, which I don't think would have worked in the 46 version. Anyway.
Yeah, no, I think and then that was it. That was it for the lightning round.
Okay, good. See, and it wasn't really a lightning round, but what the hell? I did
Close.
just say the asphalt jungle. I did a 3-word answer to one of them. Okay.
There you go.
Am I doing this one?
You're doing this one.
Okay. I believe it was 2010 when I saw the restoration of Breathless at Film Forum, and I was very pleasantly surprised when I realized the subtitles were redone and substantially improved. Did the restoration of El Vampiro Negro include newly translated subtitles? If so, how did you go about selecting a translator? And do you have any favorite translators and translations? That's a question from Joe in Suffolk County, New York. Yeah, we did. When we preserved El Vampiro Negro the first time, we just had the burned in subtitles. When we did the actual restoration, the subtitles were definitely improved. This is a homegrown operation. Fernando Martin Pena actually did the translation, and then I will edit it to just smooth out the English a little bit. So it's interesting. I find that I don't really edit to change anything. It's just like when Philippe Garnier writes his books or Fernando does these translations, I'll just like say I Americanize it,
Yeah.
just with adjusting sentence structure and stuff like that to make it feel more like dialogue. So that's the answer to that one. And I should point out, just want to give Fernando his full props. I'm trying to remember which movie it was, but there was one in the first international Noir City that we did. Fernando, we showed a film that did not have subtitles, and Fernando actually on a laptop in the projection booth worked the subtitles, had prepared them, and they were projected onto the screen by Fernando at the theater.
That's amazing.
That's how we put on a show.
That's just incredible. And do you have any favorite translators and translations?
No. In fact, this is something that flummoxes me because I'm not multilingual.
Yeah.
And like, for instance, this documentary film that I'm going to present in Locarno, we sent them, it was very complicated because we, of course, they're subtitling it in Italian,
yeah,
which is the default language. And even though Locarno is in Switzerland, it's very, very close to Italy. And so the default language at this festival is Italian. And so we sent them the film time coded. And then I had to go through and transcribe the entire film, right? Which AI, God bless, that's one thing it can do, right? You just ran it through and it did it. Then I had to go in and fix the stuff that AI got wrong, of course.
Yeah.
And then send that on to them as the dialogues. And then they will create it in a laptop and they will soft title the film, meaning it's not embedded in the film. Right. It plays below the screen. And somebody has to do that. Somebody actually times that and does it in the booth while the film is being shown. But my whole reason for saying that is I won't have the slightest idea whether it's translated well or not. because I don't speak Italian. So
Right, right.
so how would I know? I'd have to watch it with someone who spoke both English and Italian to tell me if the translation was any good or not.
No, I was going to say, I wanted to give a shout out. So I just had, so I've been reading I've read some Maigret novels, but I got a bee in my bonnet. I decided I'm going to read them all starting from the first one. And Penguin, starting in I think the 2010s, did retranslations of them, and they're really good. Like, they read better than the previous translations I've read. So I wanted to give a shout out to
Cool.
Penguin for doing that. So I'm trying to decide, comment on YouTube or Facebook what you guys think, but I'm debating if I just want to do the Maigret novels straight through and then do the standalones, and I'm doing them in chronological order, if I should do both. So as I go along, read the Maigret novels like from 31, and then anything wrote as standalone from 31. Because that's what I did with Agatha Christie, right? With Agatha Christie, I read it in published order, everything.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I think it would be more interesting from a journalistic point of view to read it, to intersperse them.
Okay.
Because I would be curious to know if the stuff Simenon wrote in his standalone novels somehow seeped into the Maigret novels.
Yeah.
In kind of the same time frame. I'm certain he wouldn't have it be like immediately following, but you could tell in like a 6-year period. The guy was so prolific, he probably would write 6 or 8 books in a 6-year period, or more. If you can sense something between the two of them as opposed to just the progression of the Maigret novels, because I don't know. I mean, that's how I do. I mean, I'm not making a project of it. I'll get around to all of them sooner or later. But I'll read like 2 or 3 Maigret books, and then I'll switch over and read a couple of the standalones.
Yeah, but I've just enjoyed, because I've done this with previous writers like Charles Dickens and Agatha Christie and a bunch of other, and some other people too. I really find it interesting to like read things in chronological order, because you see how they develop a writer, about how different ideas come to them, the things that they repeat, their sort of leitmotifs, and then like it's kind of fun. Like with Christie, she was the same way, where she was writing all over the place. You know what I mean? It wasn't just like she just wrote the Poirot novels. At the same time, she was like, the Harley Quinn stories, which were really interesting. And then she developed Marple, and, it's kind of interesting. So I think it'd be kind of fun to see the two sides of his writing, the police procedural and the thing. Even though I find Maigret very similar to Poirot, who is also very interested, and he cracks his cases the same way, which is the human element, that part where you understand the person and then you can solve the crime. I find them sort of interesting, kind of dual characters.
Absolutely. Because that's what I love about those Maigret novels, is they're really just about the culture and character studies. The mystery element is almost secondary. It's just like he figures out some kind of plot to tie it all together to keep you turning pages. But man, and I find that the Maigret novels are far more optimistic than the standalone novels are like where he goes really, really dark. I mean, that's Simenon as the noir writer. In the Maigret novels, there's always like a thread of optimism, because he saw, even when it ends badly and you feel miserable for the people, he goes on, and it's like he solves things. There's stuff to be solved, which you don't always find in the other books.
There is one that was a short story that I read, and it is tragic. The ending is so tragic. When I've been watching the Rupert Davies Maigrets from the 60s in Britain, and when all of a sudden like that one started, it's like, oh god, I don't even know if I want to watch this episode, because seriously, I think the bleakest one he wrote where you realize this one character is like going to be permanently damaged
Yeah.
and is
Yeah.
barely hanging on to his sanity. It's I don't want to tell which one it is.
Yeah,
Don't
don't.
But it was just like
I
I
will
was
get
like
to it.
my jaw dropped and it's like, oh god, this is so grim. And like it's like I don't know if I want to sit down and watch this. I made myself watch it anyway.
Is Night at the Crossroads the first one? Is that the
No,
first Maigret
that's
novel?
not. That's a couple out. The first one is Peter the Latvian is actually
Okay.
Yeah, Night of the Crossroads isn't like a favorite of mine. It's got kind of that early installment weirdness where his character's just a little different than he would be later.
Yeah.
Still finding the character, which is also another fun part about reading them in order. Like if you read the Nero Wolf books in order, Archie says some really racist stuff in the
God.
early novels, and he sort of develops with the time. Okay, sorry, we got sidetracked. So Phil from Vancouver, Washington. I just watched The League of Gentlemen and was intrigued by the scene where the kid records the license plate that leads to the arrest. It's a place from Alabama where I grew up but escaped. So this is a British film. I was wondering how this fits in and why they chose that.
I wish I knew the answer. I mean, I know what you're talking about. I don't know. But I don't think it really has any significance. It's weird to me that I think maybe now that I'm thinking about it, you know how this works, right? I mean, it's a fluky gimmick. It's not my favorite thing in the movie. I like the movie very much, but this kid has this habit of writing down license plate numbers. It's just like he's an idiot savant or something, and it ends up being the thing that foils the whole deal for the League of Gentlemen. But I just think that they wanted something distinctive about the license plate, and so like why would the kid have paid attention to it in the first place? And it's because it's not a British license plate, it's an American license plate, which I don't know that there's any further explanation than that. I don't know that it's I don't think they would have made a huge error by like they don't allow American license plates in England. I would imagine your car's even easier to identify if you have a foreign license plate on it, right? Anyway, that's what I know about that.
This Scuba Mask is a great Hammer Noir that everyone needs to watch. I forgot to mention that before.
No, it's called The Snorkel.
The Snorkel, not the Scuba Mask, the Snorkel.
It's called The Snorkel.
My brain, the Snorkel.
But really, I got what you meant.
Yeah, I know. I saw it at the PFA on the big screen. That was really good.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. This is our buddy Michael in Post Falls, Idaho. Eddie has often featured films from other countries on Noir Alley and Noir City events to show noir isn't unique to the U.S. To date, I've noted over a dozen countries that have been represented. I don't recall his ever showing a noir film from China. May I suggest one? The Wild Goose Lake from 2019, which has a standard noir plot and includes all the noir. The tone of the film is pure noir, especially the ending. I know the film you're speaking of. I have not seen it. Anne, have you seen the movie?
I have not seen that.
And there are it's not there's another one. There's another Chinese noir. God, I can't believe I'm blanking on the title. The Purest White. Something is The Purest White. I believe is also a Chinese film noir. Imogen has written about that one as well. I know most of them are Korean or Japanese. I mean, those are in our Noir Around the World book. We write about Japanese and Korean films, but nothing from China. So there's another one that is going to show up on Letterboxd.
Yeah, there you go. It will be on Letterboxd.
Wild Goose
Lake. That link on from the YouTube channel. I do try to link it, and you can type in Ann Hawkins, HOCKENS Letterboxd, and I believe my Letterboxd name is Audie and Dan.
No, there you
Audie
go. That
Murphy and
makes
Dan
perfect
Duryea.
sense.
Yeah.
I-
This is our last question from Michael, Bethel Heights, Arkansas. I'd like to address the pet peeve, dream sequences in movies. Most don't look so dreamy, the exception being the one designed by Dolly for Spellbound. Can you think of any noir films that effectively express what happens when we enter the lands of dreams? P.S. Enjoy the Dark City Dames.
Thank you, Michael. Interesting. Well, I've never had a dream remotely like the Salvador Dali sequence in Spellbound. I mean, I just
Crap.
well, that all to me seems to if this makes sense, the symbolism is too literal.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel dreamy to me. It feels like everything's just a symbol of something, which is clearly the whole Freudian thing that's going on
Right.
in that movie. But no film to me captures the dream state more than Mulholland Drive. To me, that's the film, because the film is a dream.
Yeah.
Up until Naomi Watts wakes up on the couch in her bathrobe, that's when real time begins. Everything else is just her dream before that, which is kind of freaking amazing.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I love about that movie. But what's interesting is, to me, the dream thing in movies, it's not so much what you're seeing, it's sort of the intermittency of it, like the time. Like, time doesn't work right when you're dreaming. Like, you're one place and then all of a sudden you're someplace else, and it makes sense in your head, but it's like, this is not possible in reality, so I'm dreaming this. So to me, it's more of an editing thing than it is what you're seeing visually.
Yeah.
You saw The Back Rooms, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did you feel that had a dream-like quality to it?
To an extent, yeah, I can see where you're going. I think, honestly, it makes sense this way, but some of the best dream representation I've seen is really in the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, which are literally about someone trying to kill you in your dreams.
Right.
And because he does, and not just the first one, but all of them, there is that shifting of location and weird thing, just the way your mind actually works when you're dreaming. Like, those films are really good with that,
Yeah.
And the things that you're scared of will come in, because that's how Freddy, is part of what he does to the person. Just the way your subconscious will make you bring up, the things that you're trying to suppress or that are going on. And there's one in particular, I think it's the fourth one, where they keep looping back, which is, how we do that in our dreams, and he literally use that. It's surprisingly well done. But I mean, honestly, out of everything I've seen, I really do feel like they really kind of capture the dream logic, and which they should, since that's what they're about. But you don't really expect that necessarily.
Yeah, there's
from,
to me that
films.
Yeah, because I honestly, I think you could shoot anything, but if you edited it in a certain way and messed with the sound, it's going to assume this dream state, regardless of what it is you're shooting. Just like dropping out stuff, dropping out frames, or repeating things, or just slightly off, I think is much more intriguing than the big big splashy dream visuals and stuff. It was a movie that had an incredible dream sequence in it, is get ready, Letterboxd, is The Nickel Ride. Did you ever see The Nickel Ride?
No, I have a friend who wants to screen it for me, so I need to remind him.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, it's a Robert Mulligan, the same guy who did To Kill a Mockingbird, and Jason Miller. It's one of the only other movies he did after The Exorcist. And it's a great early 70s crime film, but it has a tremendous dream sequence in it.
Yeah, and I was going to say also The Blood of a Poet and Beauty and
Oh
the
yeah,
Beast and Beauty and the Beast also.
there you go.
Uh,
Blood of a Poet. Absolutely. Well, now you're getting into the surrealism stuff. See, it's
oh,
funny. I mean,
anything by Buñuel, right?
Bunwell is like, yeah,
I mean,
very, very,
Discreet Charm of the Bourgeoisie is a
yeah.
prime example of
He
that.
is, yeah. He is the master of the subconscious.
Yeah.
He and David Lynch, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, now I got to go watch some of those films that we've just talked about.
I know. Well, I showed Ted the Brood on Saturday because I really love that movie, and I got some gift cards for Barnes and Noble, and they were having a half price Criterion sale, so I got to watch The Brood because Ted
So
and I have been
that's
talking
what you
about
give
it.
your friends for their birthday. You get, yeah,
I
I'm
didn't.
going to let you
I
watch The Brood.
Because we were talking about Scanners the week before, and I was saying The Brood is like my favorite like Cronenberg film.
Yeah.
And I wound up talking about it with my therapist in passing, and I said the really weird thing about it. So basically, this guy's trying to get his wife, who he's estranged from, is like in this weird cult with the psychiatrist who's doing like these sessions where he's trying to get people to go through the rage in a way where the rage shows up on their body, like in some kind of like sores or whatever. And it's a very interesting film because Oliver Reed plays this sort of unethical psychiatrist, and he's very cult-like. But the really weird thing is when you see him like interacting with his patients, he's actually like a really good psychiatrist. That's the weird part about it. What he's doing is like completely unethical, but he really like understands his patient's trauma.
Scary.
It's like,
That's scary.
it's really weird because like, which didn't strike me before. That, wait a minute, he's actually really good at
He's good at his job.
He's actually good at his job. He's completely unethical, but anyway, that was just on my mind.
Okay, The Brood. And where does that fit in Cronenberg's filmography?
It's early on. It's like prior to Scanners, which also has Patrick McGowan in it.
But was his?
It was after,
what's his first film? Was that Rabid?
Rabid, I think, believe is his first film. So it's a couple after that. I think there's something in between Rabid and this one. And this one was interesting because what inspired it was Cronenberg had a pretty contentious divorce, and his wife took their daughter to California to a cult that she was in, and he got custody of the child and had to go there and retrieve the child because legally he had was the parents' right. So he always called it his Kramer versus Kramer.
I see.
And Samantha Eggar is unbelievably great in it.
I've always liked her.
Oh,
very underrated actress. She's great,
fantastic in this movie. If you like
The Collector, of course, she's fantastic in that.
Which I'm too scared to watch. That's been
The
on
Collector.
That's been on my to watch list forever. I'm just like scared to watch it.
Well, you should watch it. No. Speaking of things, I just finished watching. I mean, literally, like before I came upstairs to do this.
Okay.
Because people had asked about it. Have you seen this? And I finally watched The Lowdown. Have you seen The Lowdown? It's like a Hulu show with Ethan Hawke.
No, I have not.
Okay. It was really good. I really, really enjoyed it. I had a great affinity for the character that Ethan Hawke plays in this story. And people were asking about it, obviously, because it's very self-reverential about crime fiction and stuff. And all these, the sale of Jim Thompson novels figures prominently in the plot.
Interesting.
And Ethan Hawke plays. I could have more to say about this than time allows, because I thought the film was very, very much of its time and has fits in with our national moment. But it was interesting because he plays a bookstore owner who's also he calls himself a truth historian. He writes for an independent weekly in Tulsa, Oklahoma, that's, stirs up shit. Back in the days when alternative weeklies actually existed,
yeah,
there really is no such thing anymore, which made me kind of sad watching this show. And then he ends up playing like he's a journalist, but a wannabe detective, and it has all the beats and the stuff of crime fiction. But it was really good, and he's terrific. Ethan Hawke is just fantastic. The guy is on a roll. Like it just blew my mind watching this show to realize this guy is the same guy who played Lawrence Hart in Blue Moon.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just incredibly great. Anyway, it was good. It's definitely worth a watch. I actually kind of binged it. I did it in like 2 days, which I never do.
Yeah. I grew up an hour north of Tulsa.
Well, then you should watch this show. It may have resonance for you.
Oh, I think I'll have to check it out. That, and also I want to watch Tulsa Kings for the same reason. I don't know why all this stuff's being shot in Tulsa suddenly. They must be making
tax incentives
for something. It's kind of wild.
I figure that's always why suddenly there are film crews in a town.
It's just weird. It's just like
it's okay. Anyway, well, the next time we do this, I will have been to Switzerland and back, and so check your inbox. You'll be getting an invitation to something very shortly.
Yay!
And that's it. So we have all kinds of stuff coming up, though. We should say before I sign off that we're doing Noir City, Portland is coming up. I think that's the 21st to the 23rd of August, and then there'll be Noir City, Chicago.
Yes.
Starting on the 4th of September. Then there's Noir City, Detroit. After that, I can't even remember the days. And then there is Noir City, DC in October. And there's Noir City, Philadelphia, which is actually in Ambler, Pennsylvania this year at the Ambler Theater. That will be sometime in November. I can't even keep track.
And then Noir
of
City Christmas in December. And by the way, all our dates for all the Noir City festivals is always posted at noircity.com and at filmnoirfoundation.org. And while you're at filmnoirfoundation.org, be sure to sign up for our newsletter. That's how we get our questions. We solicit them through our newsletter. And if you donate $20 or more to the Film Noir Foundation using the same email that you signed up for.
You have to do that.
You have to do that's important. And then you will get Noir City Magazine, our sort of quarterly magazine, for a year. And of course, you'll support us, restoring films like Repeat Performance and El Vampiro Negro that we discussed today.
Yes. So you will get, just to clarify, you will get the digital version of the magazine for that $20 or more donation. Several issues. You'll get a minimum of 3 issues. The new issue is almost done. It looks fantastic. And yes, there is. Yeah, that's it. That's all I needed you to know.
Okay, great. So if you're watching on YouTube, like, share, please. Hype if you have hype points that you can give us, and comment, thumbs up, all that good stuff. That's
fantastic.
That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Anne. Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. And we will hopefully see you guys in 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Good night.